He's our president. We need more House Republicans. So sit down and shut up. Hi, I'm Scott Ott, and this is Bill Whittle Now. And Bill, this is really an episode that I want to kind of expand upon just one little quote that I read in a Politico story that was allegedly citing sources who were in on a House caucus meeting during which nominal conservatives within the caucus were apparently critiquing and attacking Representative Liz Cheney of Wyoming because at times she has been critical of President Trump. Now, just to set this up front, according to 538, Liz Cheney has voted with President Trump 97% of the time. And when she came out of the meeting, she said, we're all unified. And she was, when they asked her what she was talking to a fellow congressperson about, she said, we're talking about how horrible it would be if Joe Biden were president. So all of that for context. Bill, it made me think because one of the congressmen in there allegedly said something on the order of, if someone has a problem with Trump, they should keep it to themselves. Bill, in the context of election seasons, is that what we want from members of the political party that we support going into an election, basically saying, look, if you've got complaints anytime, 2 years before an election, shut up. It's not your business to speak.
No, I don't want to belong to a party like that. Do you?
I don't, actually.
No, me neither. Now, of course, there is a difference of degree here. If you're talking about a person who voted 97% in terms of Trump, I think that person's bona fides are well established, and it doesn't do anybody any good, least of all President Trump, to go through world without any criticism whatsoever and be surrounded by yes men. The idea that anti-Trump comments from Trump supporters weakens the president, I think, is a fallacious argument, and I think it's one that defines modern leftism and their lockstep religious attitude towards orthodoxy, ideological orthodoxy. The entire purpose of the free exchange of ideas is that the best ideas in a level playing field, and a level playing field just means where everybody is heard respectfully, will rise to the top and bad ideas will fall to the bottom. The good ideas will rise because they'll be promoted and argued in favor of. The bad ideas will fail because people have the courage to stand up and say, this was Republican Party policy, and it not only didn't do us any good, it harmed us. If you're talking about the kind of voting record that this representative has, it'd be tough to exceed that in terms of support. A 97% vote rate is astonishingly high. And so you're not talking about a troublemaker, and you're not talking about a Mitt Romney, who I would describe as a contrarian, who enjoys being contrary. And I would easily put John McCain in that category as well. Those people need to be reined in with party discipline. But to say that criticizing Donald Trump is automatically bad for Donald Trump and reduces his chances of election does two things that are both very destructive. One of them is it eliminates any pathway to improving the candidate, improving the president, and improving the message. If everything is simple, yes, man, you got it exactly right, sir, then no new ideas enter the system. And this is why socialist and totalitarian governments fail. This is why Saddam Hussein thought he could get away with the annexation of Kuwait and beat America, for that matter. He's surrounded by generals who tell him absolutely yes, no question about it. Same with Kim Jong-un, if he is still with us. The ability to criticize your superiors respectfully but effectively and to win the argument is the very best part of what we would call politics. And I don't want to live in an echo chamber. I do appreciate that there are times when things like Mitt Romney's vote on the impeachment thing, the only time in history that a member of the president's own party has voted for his impeachment, to me, I thought that was moral grandstanding and virtue signaling, and I'm very glad he's been ostracized for that. But look, we criticize Donald Trump on this show. Your job as mild-mannered liberal progressive reporter is to do nothing but criticize him, and my job is to do my best to defend him. But that doesn't mean I defend him all the time, because there are some times, not most of them, but sometimes when I think what he does is, if not pretty sadly mistaken tactically, then sometimes simply abhorrent, and I'm not going to agree to things that I personally believe to be wrong, for the sake of some form of unity. It's the free exchange of ideas. That's what free speech is about. Isn't that what we're supposed to be defending?
Well, Bill, let me ask you a question specifically on that, because that was an interesting idea that I didn't anticipate, is this idea of politics and the free market. And do we really have a free marketplace of ideas? Because at least my experience at a local and then statewide level with one particular political party has been that the leaders of the party would say, it's okay if you oppose the direction that the party wants to go, or that the titular head of the party wants to go, as long as, it's a matter of conscience, and as long as it doesn't matter on the vote. But the reality is, if
those are two different things.
Well, yeah, and I think this is the issue. The Republican Party would say, well, it's not that we brook no dissent. We have a wide variety of views, and people can vote as they wish, but not on the votes that really matter.
I think that's a big mistake, Scott. And I think it's a tactical mistake in terms of day-to-day politics. I think it's a strategic mistake in terms of the brand of the political party. But most importantly, I think it's a moral mistake, a moral failure. And I think it's a lack of courage to perform an act that may be unpleasant in order to save or improve an idea that you love. The idea of me criticizing the military, which I don't do very often, but sometimes I do enthusiastically, is not because I want the military to suffer, and it's not because I want to provide ammunition to the enemies of the military. Both of these things are a result of me criticizing the military. But that is superseded by the love of an institution, or in the love of the country, love of your family, love of your wife and your children, to pretend that to not criticize anything is to enhance the product is proven wrong on more occasions than there are pages to print it on. The whole purpose of being an adult, and on some level here, what you're talking about also, not just with regard to this individual, but with regard to Trump voters and Republicans all across the board. As a party of adults, presumably, we understand that there are times when the people that we dearly love, doesn't have to be children, it could be teenagers with a drug habit, it can be fathers filled with ego or a drinking problem or whatever. We have, if we are genuinely filled with love, and filled with love more than filled with the desire to go along, which is an exceedingly powerful desire, then we do what is necessary to try to improve the person we love. This is the definition of tough love. Tough love is evicting your most beloved child from the safety of your home because the child is stealing your bus fare to buy drugs. And of all the things I think I have ever seen on television, I think the thing that ripped my heart out the most was an episode where a young woman who was a severe addict came home, and the mother called the police on the daughter. And as the daughter was being arrested and taken out to the car, the daughter was screaming, "Mom, why are you doing this to me? Don't you love me? Don't you care about me?" And as she's being put in the car, she's hysterical. "I hate you." And the mother is just disintegrated. She's absolutely shattered. It's obvious in her face, it's obvious in her speech. And as her only girl drives off in the back of a police car, looking back at her, screaming unheard profanities at the top of her lungs, the mother looks like she just wants to crawl in a hole and die. And I'm sure that's exactly what she wanted to do. But I was so struck. I was so overwhelmed by the love that woman must have had for her daughter, because the mother because the mother was willing to undergo that kind of pain because she felt, and rightfully so, that if her daughter stayed doing what she was doing, she was going to be killed, either through drugs or through a drug deal, and that her love for her daughter was so overwhelming that she was willing to take that absolute dagger into the heart in order to help protect her daughter. And I come to that story because to me it was the clearest example of how painful it is to criticize the things that you love, especially in an environment where you are fully aware that your criticism will be amplified. In my minor case, but in cases of people who are more famous, that my criticism will be amplified and used as a weapon by the people who are selling the drugs, basically. But that's not the ultimate decision. The ultimate decision is, do you love the process better than you love your own state of comfort? Do you love the person better than you love the ability to go through life accepted by your peers rather than rejected by your peers? And very few people have the moral courage to do this. But it is the essential part of parenting. And when I say parenting, I'm not talking about talking to Donald Trump as if he's a child. When I'm talking about parenting, I'm talking about an individual making a tough decision that is going to cost that individual a fair amount of emotional harm out of a greater love for the person that they're doing this particular act of sacrifice for. And to me, that's one of the most human and noble qualities out there. And I want to be a part of a party that has that ethos, rather than one that simply says, yes, he's a scumbag, yes, he's a this, yes, he's a that. We can't possibly admit it because that would reduce his chances to be election. I just don't want to be in that camp.
Ladies and gentlemen, the members at BillWhittle.com have made this program possible as they fund more than 40 programs like this each month. Many of those are on YouTube and free for the public to see only because the members make that happen. There's also a lot of content on the website that you can't see unless you're a member, and we invite you to join that group and find out what you're missing at BillWhittle.com. Just click the big green Become a Member button. For Bill Whittle, I'm Scott Ott. Thanks for watching.